A fantastic sketch artist, famous sketch artist. You may know her, and she like really captured the brainstorming, the thought process of our rocket.
And here we are with Space Dingo Incorporated. And right here we have Janelli Castro as budget designer. We have Cesar Martinez as lead graphic designer. And we have Henry O'Donnell as lead launch day manager. And here is Space Dingo Incorporated. And I'm gonna ask you guys a couple questions. And the first question goes to Janelli. How did you accommodate for unknown anomalies?
Well, at the start of the project, we made a list of everything we thought we would need and all the prices for that, just to have a rough idea of, what we're gonna need and how much of our budget that would take away. And then once we started building it, we decided some things weren't really needed, so we got rid of some things, added a couple things. We just always made sure to have a good cushion of, money left over, just in case we needed something else.
Interesting. And Caesar, state the materials you used to build the rocket and why you use them.
Well, first of all, we decided to go with 1 liter of soda. Most people use 2 liters. We decided that it wasn't needed to have, that extra liter. But we kept it very minimal. We got cardboard slides that weren't so huge. We decided not to really spend so much on it because, we did have a budget.
Okay. And the last question for this segment goes to Henry. How do you feel these materials benefited the experiments?
Well, as my colleague eloquently put it, we found which ones were the lightest, which ones were the best for our rocket. Since we had a smaller rocket than others, then we didn't need those heavier materials because they would only slow us down in the long run.
We are back. So the next segment is during the building of the rocket. Janelli, the first question goes to you. And how did the money affect your choices?
Well, like one of my colleagues said earlier, we did have a budget, so we always had to keep that in mind. So sometimes we would opt for less of one thing or just completely take out one thing during the building process, just because money-wise, we just wanted to be sure that we would have enough left over, or enough to complete everything.
Nice. And Caesar, second question goes to you. Were there more changes in this stage?
Well, just to clear it out, this wasn't how it initially was. The parachute actually was somewhat cleaner, somewhat more precise as to how it is now. But that was just one of the things we also had to do. We had to kind of morph around the dimensions of certain things, such as the
wing.
The wings.
Nice, interesting. And Henry, last question goes to you. What would you do differently?
There'd be a lot of things I'd do differently. Especially, the one thing I'll do differently is not get hit in the face with the rocket. That was the biggest concern with planning that was
Overlooked.
We never thought in a million years someone would get hit in the face with 350 psi to the nose. Still kind of hurts, just saying. First, that would be differently. Second of all, we would not wet the rocket as much as we did.
Yes, that was a fatal mistake.
That was one of the greater mistakes of the rocket, and that's what caused the injury, really. How you see how this is not really centered to go upwards, like vertically. Kind of looks like it might twirl around and hit someone in the face. That's what kind of happened in this test flight.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Henry. And we are back with Space Dingo Inc. Should you have added more parts with the leftover money?
Definitely. We had about $365,050 left. So we had a lot left. So we could have, originally we had said we wanted to use clay. We didn't really know for what. We just kind of put it in there. And then we took it out during the building process, but it might have come in handy. Or maybe something sturdier for the cone, so that didn't happen and injuries would have been avoided.
And Caesar, this question goes for you next. Were there any design flaws?
Absolutely. certain design flaws should have been checked, accounted for exactly.
Gotcha.
You know, if we had done that, specific somebody wouldn't have gotten hit in the face.
We're not
with
going to
such a
point any names.
Yeah,
or,
point any names. Naming fingers.
And the last question goes to Henry. How was the overall experiment?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, you see, the overall experiment, it was one of the best ones. It was top 3 of all of the space explorating experiments. We could say that we were blessed in some ways.
Except your face.
Except my nose, which still hurts after a week. And all I could say is that we did a fantastic job.
And now, launch day. Are you ready? All right.
And cut. And cut. Cut.